Hey there, this is my video review for the movie Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This movie came out in 1937. It was Walt Disney's first full-length movie. It was a cartoon movie. And basically it covers the plight of these seven dwarfs who work in a forced labor camp under this Colombian drug lord. And so they have to work sun up till sundown. They have really crappy wages, and they don't have a union, and so they're really being abused by this Colombian drug lord. They have to work all day in the mine. They have to mine for diamonds, and on the side, the Colombian drug lord operates a prostitution ring out of two South American countries, Uruguay and Paraguay. But here's the thing: the Colombian drug lord, forces everyone to pronounce it Uruguay and Paraguay. He's a real stickler for pronunciation. And, if you don't pronounce that correctly, he takes his whip out and he whips you real good. And so, one time he makes an example, in fact, out of one of the dwarfs. Oh, I forgot to name the dwarfs. The dwarfs, you got the seven dwarfs. So you got happy, grumpy, sleepy, depressed, suicidal, bipolar, ADHD, Sexy Spice, Ginger Spice, Posh Spice, Sporty Spice, and Gilbert Gottfried. So those are the seven dwarfs. And one day, I guess, the Colombian drug lord, he calls Sexy Spice over, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to work as a prostitute today in the capital, Montevideo." And you have to say Montevideo. Like, it looks like it's Montevideo. In fact, I used to rent movies at this place down the street called Mountain Video, so I thought that's how it was pronounced. But it's Montevideo. And so he says to Sexy Spice, "Get in there and work as a prostitute for these creepy old guys that have a fetish for kinky acts with, dwarfs." And Sexy Spice is like, "Nah, man, I'm not gonna work in Montevideo." And man, the Colombian drug lord, he gets ballistic, man. He's like, "What? What did you say? I told you to pronounce it correctly." Like that, dude. And so he takes the whip out and he whips and whips and whips Sexy Spice until Sexy Spice says, "Montevideo." And so after that, all the dwarfs, they have to pronounce everything correctly. So it's Uruguay and Paraguay and Montevideo. So you have to pronounce it like that. So basically, man, these dwarfs are in a bad situation. But luckily, Snow White comes in to save the day, And so Snow White's this beautiful girl. She's got like this porcelain skin. And, Snow White is a metaphor for Jesus Christ because, Jesus was also white, which is like, they're saying like white people are the master race, the dominant race. So, you get a Snow White and Jesus, they go together, right? So Snow White comes in as a savior and it's like, "I'm gonna rescue the dwarfs, yay." And the dwarfs are like, "Yeah, yeah." But they give Snow White a warning and they're like, "Oh, you gotta look out because the Colombian drug lord has magical powers and can turn into a witch. And he also runs this fruit stand and he has like watermelons and bananas and oranges and cantaloupe and all these fruits and he poisons them, so you gotta look out." But it turns out Snow White's a total dumb bitch. And she goes up. She doesn't listen to what the dwarf said. And she goes up to the Colombian drug lord and she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to whoop your ass," and all this stuff. And the Colombian drug lord turns into the witch and has this apple which he laces with liquid Drano. And Snow White, who has no impulse control, is like, "Oh my God, oh my God. An apple," and she just eats the apple and she ingests the liquid Drano and she goes in a coma and all the dwarfs are like, "God, what a dumb bitch." And so they gotta wait for the gay prince to come along, sing the magical song, which is "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor. He administers CPR, then Snow White wakes back up again. She hands all the dwarfs chainsaws and they go in like Al Pacino, Scarface style. They go up to the Colombian drug lord. They chop him up into a bloody mess and he's dead and his guts are everywhere. And then, you know, the song comes in when they're celebrating. It's, you know, Celine Dion's, you know, My Heart Will Go On. And it's like, you know, near, far, wherever you are, I know my heart will go on. Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that was a pretty good song. It really made my heart go on. And so, they're doing that. And then at the end, they all have their, you know, Star Trek symbols on their shirts. And they go like, beep, beep, beep. And they go, beam me up, Scotty. And so, they go and they beam up to the Starship Enterprise. And then, you know, it's basically like saying like how in The Wizard of Oz, you know, you always had the power all along. All you had to do is go like, beep, 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 beam me up, Scotty, and you'd be on the Starship Enterprise. So, you know, the dwarfs could have gone out of the labor camp anytime they want, you know. So it's always about you have the power, you know. That's like the main idea behind this movie. Like you always had the power, just go, beep, beam me up, Scotty, and you go up to the Starship Enterprise and you hang out with like Worf and Captain Jean-Luc Picard and stuff. So basically that's like the theme of the movie. And of course after that they're on the Starship Enterprise, the credits start rolling, and then on comes, you know, Aerosmith's that song where he goes like, I don't want to close my eyes and I don't want to miss a thing, or you know how that song goes. And I don't know, I kind of wanted them to play like KRS-One, you know, whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the beast. You know, but it turns out KRS-One wasn't even around in 1937. So that song wasn't even out yet, so they couldn't have used that song. So I guess that's kind of stupid of me to think that they should use that song. So basically, you know, what I took away from the movie is it's a movie about, you know, you have the power, boop, beam me up, Scotty, you can beam anywhere you want. And basically it's about, you know, it's not nice to put people into slave labor camps, you know, and not let them organize a union. And you should give them like, you know, decent hours and decent wages so that they can go home and spend quality time with their family, you know, play catch with their kids and, you know, all that, you know, Americana type stuff, you know, eat hot dogs and stuff like that. And also, you shouldn't put, you know, dwarfs in a prostitution ring in Paraguay and Uruguay just because, you know, people in those countries, you know, have like some kinky fetish to do weird things with dwarfs, you know, it's not appropriate. So that's basically, you know, what I took away from this movie, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So, yeah, that's been my review and I hope you enjoyed it.